I'm Ariana. Nice to meet you both.
Hi,
Nice to
Ariana.
meet you.
Hi. To start off, question for both of you. What was your favorite scene this season to shoot and see come to life?
There is a scene between Michael's character Terry and Reagan, played by Jana Schmieding, where they're medicinally impaired and they just get to hang out in the woods, which is a very native experience. And it's so fun watching them, their personalities in that way just makes me laugh every single time. We got to watch it so many different times, and it's a tracking shot, kind of bird's eye view of a truck, and they're laying in the truck just kind of talking. And our co-composers, the hallucination, were like, we have to write the track for this. And they knew exactly how they wanted it to sound. And it all just came together so beautifully. And it's one of my favorite scenes of this season.
Awesome.
For me, I think the highlight was the Dirty Dancing sequence, because as a former dancer, the production was expecting me to bring it, but I retired from dance a long time ago, so I had the pressure on. Kimberly Guerrero, my amazing partner who plays Renee, Terry's wife, is not a dancer, and she had to do all the same things as me, but in high heels. So I think the way we worked, we worked like dogs. We were, I remember the choreographer said to us, I've never worked with two actors who've ever worked harder at a dance sequence than you two. And I'm, really gratified by that. And Kimberly said, we have to work that hard. We're just not given these chances. So I think that was really an important idea. And how it turned out is just I'm so proud of it.
It was magical. It was a magical dance set for sure.
Yeah. There's a show within the show this season, Adirondacks, on season 3. How did that idea come up? And Michael, how was it like to have to kind of interact with that problematic show?
That problematic show is part of all our careers as Native actors and communities. We've dealt with these shows for decades. Those shows are on TV right now. So it was actually a lot of fun to poke holes in the idea that these shows represent us. And Jana wrote that. Jana co-wrote that episode, and for me, I was like, let me add it. I was so delighted to, as we say, take the piss out of that whole genre.
Yeah, the idea for the Adirondack episode came from a semi-frustration because when we're breaking stories in the room, we're so questioning of like, is this accurate? How would this really happen? Like, we need to make sure we're representing the Northeast very specifically. And we'd always say like, if we were making Adirondack season 3, we could just, put anything up in the production design or do whatever we wanted, and they could wear whatever they wanted. And then we're like, are we making this? Is this happening? And then we thought about, all year for season 1, getting asked questions about Native representation. And it's so hard to really answer that question because it's always like, not good, And so to have an opportunity to really look at that issue as comedically as possible, because I think a lot of times when we're having that conversation, we're seen as the victims and we're sort of seen as these people who are being exploited. And to really talk about it in a funny way, I think actually elevated the conversation we were trying to have. And also looking at ourselves as Native viewers, like, most of the Native people on the show love that show. So I think it was also kind of a funny inside baseball kind of conversation to have as well.
For sure. In season 1, there's a scene that I feel motivates Terry even in season 2, of when he is screwed over when he's younger in the 80s by that white man. And I feel that kind of motivates Terry throughout his entire life. Could you kind of both talk about that scene, or maybe even if you had a similar experience that is kind of a motivating force to you?
Yeah, that scene was based on my life when I was a kid. I would sell Native jewelry and Native art while my mom was demonstrating her art at these like luxury hotels, and I got cheated. I was making a percentage of my sales from someone else, and it really hit me, that relationship with capitalism. And the episode you're talking about, we talk a lot about tribal capitalism, and one of the writers as we were breaking the story, said, Terry needs to get bitten by capitalism. He needs to kind of be punished in one moment in this episode. And we were like, that's such an interesting concept. And so I told that story to the room, and they were like, well, that's what it has to be. And so we kind of crafted it based on his experiences. And I think, what I love so much about the Terry character is he has so many layers. He has so many motivations, and he's also hyper aware of how people perceive him. And the way that Michael plays that character, specifically in that episode, it's just like a masterclass of not just comedy, but also drama, and really bringing a lot of humanity to that character, which is so much about what our show is about.
For sure. And Michael, did you want to speak upon that?
Sierra expressed it so beautifully, but I will say this about Terry: it's a motivator. He's so motivated by that moment. It's like a defining moment for him as a character, and there's an aphorism that sort of is appropriate to how it affects him. Fool me once, shame on me, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right. So he's a man who learns his lessons, sometimes the hard way, but he learns them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, and congrats on season 2 and hopefully season 3.
Hope so. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.